A very good morning to everyone. Would like to welcome you all to the 9th edition of Odisha Art and Literature Festival 2024. Odisha Art and Literature Festival celebrates the gathering of so many cultures, communities, and conversations that seldom find themselves in the same space, close enough to see and touch. This year, we have brought many worlds into view through writers and artists whose works lay down bridges, inviting us to explore, reach out, be curious, and be open to newness, learning, and growth. We bridge near and far, connecting celebrated authors hailing from Hungary, Singapore, Australia, and elsewhere, with stellar stalwarts from Odisha and India at large. I would request our esteemed guest to please grace the dais. I would request Damodar Mauja, who will, a big round of applause for Damodar Mauja, who's a recipient of Gyanpeeth Award for 2022 and among many other awards, Sahitya Academy Award for 1983. He is a short story writer and novelist writing in Konkani. He is also a columnist, critic, and script writer. A big round of applause for him. I would then move on to our next esteemed guest, Bonaja Devi, one of the short story writers in Odia, and she is the recipient of prestigious Sarala Puruskar. A big round of applause for Bonaja Devi. I would request our next guest, Dr. Satya Mohanty, to grace the dais. He is the former officer of the Indian Administrative Service, was the Union Education Secretary, as well as Secretary General of the National Human Rights Commission. He has authored a book of essay in Odia and 2 books of poems in English. A big round of applause for Dr. Satya Mohanty. I would then request our next eminent guest, M.K. Ajay, is the author of 3 collections of poems, Clawing into Water's Skin, Sweetness of Salt, and Facsimile of Beliefs. His poems have appeared in several publications, including US 1, Worksheet, Orbis, Indian Literature, Chandrabhaga, Kavya Bharati. A big round of applause for Mr. M.K. Ajay. Moving on to our next guest, Manu Dash, who is the director of the festival, is a bilingual poet, author, translator, editor, publisher, and curator of this festival. A big round of applause to all our esteemed guests. I would request the volunteer to present a flower bouquet to all our guests. तालियां बजती रहें. Presenting the bouquet to Bonaja Devi. Presented the bouquet to Dr. Satya Mohanty. And now, Bonaja. I would now request all the eminent guests to please light up the diya and inaugurate this festival.
जननी भारत धरणी कल्पलते तत् सम्यक् शर्म विधेयम् सर्वेषां नो जननी भारतधरणी कल्पलतेयम् जननी वत्सलतनयगणैस्तत् सम्यक् शर्म विधेयम् सर्वेषाम् हिमगिरिसीमन्वितमस्तकमिदमम्बुधिपरिगतपाशम् अस्मज्जन्मदमन्मदमनिशं श्रौतपुरातनमाशम् हिमगिरिसीमन्वितमस्तकमिदमम्बुधिपरिगतपाशम् अस्मज्जन्मदमन्मदमनिशं श्रौतपुरातनमाशम् विजनितहर्षं भारतवर्षं विश्वोत्कर्षनिधानम् भारतशर्मणि कृतमस्माभिः नवमिदमैक्यनिधानम्.
I would now request our Manudash sir, who is the director of this festival, to give us a brief introduction.
Namaskar. On the occasion of 9th Odisha Art and Literature Festival, I heartily welcome you all on the dais and off the dais. As you are aware, every year we celebrate this festival where the local and the global writers used to come and meet, discuss, deliberate, interact, and get published elsewhere. That is the basic purpose of the festival, if at all, what I understand all these years. Some people, this would have not been possible without the support behind I have. I have been fortunate to have support to do this, and the basic purpose of this festival is that the maximum benefit should go to the local writers, and the maximum benefit of our culture should go to outside Odisha, beyond the borders. You might not be aware, I have never told in any platform, 10 writers from India have been translated into different European languages, including German, 10 authors, because of our festival. We want people should read our literature beyond Odisha and India, and vice versa. Here we have today is a great personality who has helped me in many ways. I am fortunate he accepted our invite, request letter, and agreed to come all the way from Goa. It is not because that he is not only Goa, Gyanpitha Awadi from Goa Konkani language. He is the person, any time I have asked for any help, he has come very immediately he has come to rescue me, even if while making, if he remembers, Rebati into 36 languages, I was not able to rope in any Konkani language. Immediately he came and helped me. I am grateful to you, sir, personally, and we from Odisha are grateful to you for this, for your participating in this festival, which will certainly enrich the level of our discussions, and we are eager to listen to Damodar Mauji Sahab about his keynote today. Dr. Satya Mahanti, who has been stood like a rock for this one, without his direct and indirect support, this festival would not happen. I cannot imagine without his support. He is a man of principle, he is a man of words, and I owe him all my life. Madam Bhubaneswar Devi in Odisha, I don't think that she needs any introduction, but for others, I must tell, she is the highest award of the state called Sarala Puruskar. She is a recipient of Sarala Puruskar. Besides that, she is a lone warrior who writes staying at her home. I cannot tell that she is a kind of a reclusive, but she does not like the crowd at all. Crowd in the sense, not the audience I am talking of. The crowd means she does not beat her own drum. Silently, as a true writer, she has given best of her creations to us. Mom, you agreed in spite of her frail health and so many engagements. We are so much grateful to you. Here is a young man in the last called M.K. Ajay. Even if today, if you ask me what stands for M.K., I cannot tell. He will tell what is M.K. But Ajay is a good friend of mine. He is brought up born in India, but working all his life outside India. He has worked in America, Malaysia. Now almost all settled in Hong Kong. And yesterday I was told that, are you a Hong Kongite or a Hong Kongan? He told me Hong Kongas. I don't know another friend from Hong Kong. He's also there. And Paune is there. And my good friend Abdullah Hassan, who has made it for the second time, is here. And I'm forgetting his name, Japanese my friend, Misuke, if I correctly remember, because his mail comes also in Japanese. And besides that, I'm certainly grateful to some of my good friends like Samanjas Das. He has been really a great help and inspiration to organize this festival. Anything I tell about culture, he is always there. He step into immediately. I am grateful to Samanjas Babu and many of my friends here. I cannot express a name one by one. I wish this 3 days deliberation will be beneficiary to all of you, those who are present. You will give something and take away something also, knowledge-wise, I am sure. Now I do not want to take much time. Thank you very much for coming here once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving on to Dr. Satya Mohanty, who is the Chief Advisor of OALF, to please come and address the audience. A big round of applause, please.
Venerable Sri Damodar Mausji, Srimati Bhubaneswar Devi ji, Mr. M.K. Ajay, Mr. Manu Das, and friends. I was wondering before, good thing about OALF is that you wait for the program to start. So you get some time to think. So I was thinking, what is the thing you treasure about a literary festival like OALF? When you go to a scientific conference, the scientist knows that he will produce his paper, it will be challenged, and the scientific conference is successful if he is proved partly wrong. Similarly, in a literary conference, the biggest takeaway when you are in the midst of the giants like Mr. Damodar Moj and Mrs. Banoja Devi is that you go back with a humble feeling of how many people are adding value to literature and how you can look at them and follow. So you come out of a literary conference humbled. That is the biggest takeaway, I think, in a literary conference, and that I got to capture in my mind largely because there was some waiting time. This and every time we start our literary conference, this literary conference, the litmus test is what is the diversity that you are attending, how much of festivities you are offering to the participants, and how much of variety of experience from different writers, poets, and public thinkers has been conveyed through them. And that way, the 9th edition, I think, is a successful one. This time around, the theme is Word for Bridging the World. And that is with a purpose. In all religions almost and in all societies, word is connected with divine and seen as the powerful tool of creation, healing, and transformation. In Vedas, the word sabad or sabda is considered the powerful manifestation of the ultimate reality, that is Brahman. In the Gospel of John, Jesus is referred to as the Word who was with God and was God. So, in traditional metaphysics, it is through word that the divine communicates with the humanity and humanity connects with the divinity. But son of all this religious connotation, the words are the ultimate technology of human connection. They make us see, feel, and understand what we have not experienced. This sense of connection created by word often transcend the time and space to understand ourselves and others better. They are the weapons of challenge, of challenging oppression, status quo, and the dominant discourse. Normally, we associate the words with ability to build bridges for understanding, empathy, and compassion, but they can create common ground for which will unite us. They comfort the afflicted, they afflict the comfortable, and challenge the assumptions. We must choose words very carefully. We must choose words wisely to tell the stories that need to be told, to amplify the voices that need to be heard, and challenging the ideas which are status quoist. So it is not only for better communication, they are the tools of connection. But really the things which come to mind is, in a world which is polarized, divisive, can words do anything in a situation like Gaza or a situation like COVID? Can they solve the problems? We see complete power asymmetry, complete partisanship. Can words do anything? Yes, they can. They have the powers to speak to our deepest hopes and fear, to our highest aspirations and to the darkest doubts. They can inspire us to action and spark change. So, it is only in the conclaves like this that when multiple minds come together and they find out different streams of creativity to be utilized for challenging the oppression, for challenging the iniquity, for challenging the problems, then only some solutions will come. The solutions will come, it will take time, it will not come immediately. There is no quick fix. Through literature, no quick fix can come, but the right things will come. That is why in the totalitarian regime, people are so scared of writers. Writers are puny beings, but why are the dictators and totalitarian regime people are so scared of the words? Because they think it rings so true that it will spark people to action. With this hope, uh, we hope that we'll have a 3-day, very fruitful discussion, deliberation, and debate in this literary festival. And as the advisor of OALF, my personal gratitude to all the dignitaries who are in the dais and all the friends who have come from long distances. Please enjoy Bhubaneswar for the next 3-4 days. And I hope you'll carry back a good experience of OALF and Bhubaneswar. Thank you.
I would request MK Ajay sir to please say a few words and address our audience. A big round of applause for MK Ajay.
Good morning to the respected dignitaries on the dais, fellow writers, and dear friends. It's a lot of joy which I experience whenever I come to OALF, and I am always very deeply grateful to my friend who is an inspiring one-man army and the driving force behind OALF, Mr. Manu Dash. And to me, I think OALF has now grown to become something more than a literary festival. I almost experience it as a little bit of a homecoming. And though born and brought up in Kerala, as somebody who's proficient in English and Malayalam, and Hindi is only other language I can claim to know with any sense of proficiency, each year I feel my bond with Odisha and Bhubaneswar continues to grow through the association with OALF. And I was very much honored and touched when Manu asked me to support him and Alvin Pang, my Singaporean friend, to help him with designing this year's edition. And it has been a very rich experience, humbling, also inspiring, just to think about the various possibilities that one has in putting together a festival like this. And there is something which Dr. Mohanty just said, which deeply resonated with me as I was listening to him, which is the ability of festivals or celebration of the written and spoken word, which is what OALF is, to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I think, sir, it couldn't have been expressed with more succinct accuracy. That felt so true as I was setting up myself, preparing to help Manu and Alvin for this festival. There is not a whole lot I can add in terms of new ideas. I think we've heard from very great minds already on the dais who have spoken, but I would leave you with three thoughts. And these are thoughts which I feel are very dear to me. And first is, like Dr. Mohanty said, we live in a polarized world where we seem to find as humanity a lot of reasons, a lot of excuses, a lot of impulses to divide ourselves in the name of various abstract concepts, whether it is nation state or religion and so forth. And a world which is getting even more turbulent due to the disruptions that are coming from the geopolitics as well as major changes through technology. And we need things that will glue us together in some of the common emotions that we all experience as human beings, whether it is love or sadness or the fragility of our own lives. And I believe one of the art forms, or one of the very few human endeavors which can do it, is literature. So this is a wonderful space for 3 days for us to forget all those divisions, all those divisive forces, and the harsh realities, and just celebrate this glue that binds it all as a common humanity. So that is my first thought. Second is, literature changes as our attention spans, our preoccupations change. And I felt it a lot. Somebody who grew up in small town Kerala and then had to live in many parts of India and finally abroad. I've seen myself changing in the way I appreciate stimuli, I appreciate the world, the colors, the smells, the sensations, the very act of living. And words have an ability in this digital age to slow us down, make us more human, because at some level I believe slowing down, that pause and that silence between two words, which is also a kind of a bridge, is equally important. So I would also invite you to experience those pauses between the session and the reflection and the silence, which is always a wonderful part of these festivals. And finally, I think life is made worthwhile through human connections, friendship, encounters with people we have not usually considered within our inner circle. And festivals like this are always eye-openers, because it always introduces you to a new writer, somebody in the audience who relates to what you've written in a new way. And let us go with that spirit of spontaneity into this festival. So those are a few thoughts I wanted to leave with you, but most of all, I wanted to share my deep joy, happiness, and a feeling of humility, which I always encounter when I come and participate in OALF. Thank you for patiently listening to me.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. And moving on to our next esteemed guest, Gyanpeeth awardee, can we put our hands together for Damodar Mauja? I request you, sir, to address the audience.
नमस्कार. वेदीचेर बशिल्ले सगळे भोवमानेस्त मालगडे आनी म्हजे मुखार बशिल्ले देश विदेशांतल्यान आयिल्ले सगळे मानेस्तानो, तुमकां सगळ्यांक म्हजो माये मोगाचो नमस्कार. आतां नाव दॅट आय हॅव स्टार्टेड स्पिकींग टू यू इन माय लँग्वेज कोंकणी, आय थिंक आय हॅव लेड ए फावंडेशन टू कंस्ट्रक्ट ए ब्रिज बिटवीन द वर्ड्स. So with these words, you see, there is always, I feel it odd somehow that I have to speak, whenever I go to any literary event outside my state, I have to speak in a language which is not mine nor anybody else's. Yet, because it is a language of communication, I, of course, like to speak in any language that way, but let me connect with you. And I hope the next few minutes that I'm talking to, I'm able to connect with you. Friends, I presume that I have about 15 to 20 minutes, that what Mr. Manuda has told me. But if I go overboard, please, you can give me a signal and I'll wind up. Well, we have a world, and there are many words within this world. What helps us bridge these diverse worlds is word. I appreciate the organizers for not only celebrating the word, but also contemplating to bridge the worlds through words. For we, the writers, word is not just an utter, it's a language, it is culture, it is a thought expressed. Word has history and it has also geography. When travels, word multiplies, word transforms, word communicates, and word makes friends. That is the world of words that created Ramayana, Mahabharata, Katha Charit Sagar, and a whole range of wonders. I'm talking about my country. Well, I remember the 16th century saint of India, Sant Tukaram, and he has said eloquently, Shabdachi ha deva, Shabdechi gaurava, puja karu. The word is God. Let's celebrate it, worship it. The Bible is no different. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and Word is God. The French poet Stéphane Mallarmé said, poetry is made not just with ideas, but words. We have traveled a long distance over the millenniums, centuries, and decades to reach here, to experience beyond the borders fun at the Odisha Art and Literature Festival, where we are celebrating our world through words. Friends, I have attended many literary events. So far, I am already in my 80s, so you can understand. I have attended a number of literary events held all over India and even abroad. Yet I accepted this invitation to me, extended to me by my friend Manuda. And I accepted the invitation. I wondered why. Well, I asked this question to myself. Is it a holiday for me? That is why I am accepting this? Or am I running away from the hustle and bustle of Goa? Is it a marketplace where I look for my books to be sold? Or is it because Odisha is a good shopping place so that my wife can buy some saris here? Or is it because I want to remain in the limelight? Well, none of these I'm sure. Then why did I say yes to Manuda when he extended the invitation to me? The sole purpose of my participation here is to see the love for literature fostering and growing limitlessly. I'm here to be part of a literary, social, and cultural happenings that bring writers from across the borders of Bhubaneswar to celebrate the writings, besides enjoying the music, the folklore, and a variety of artistic expressions of this place. It is a two-way give and take. The intermingling of these visiting writers with the writers of Odia will end up inspiring the entire writers' fraternity. I myself curate Goa Art and Literature Festival, so I know what to be expected from the literary events like this. Now that I am here, and I know what I expect, exactly what I expect from OALF, I want to be in the world of words, where I expect love and compassion for literature. There is an evangelical quote, and I quote, "The word of God is alive and powerful. It will set you free, comfort you, heal you, and free your soul." Unquote. Keep aside the evangelical part of it. The truth is that the word has such powers that it can set you free, it can comfort you, it can restore your intellectual health, your inner fitness also, and thus attain a social well-being. Our country is full of diversities of every kind, whether religious diversity, linguistic diversity, cultural diversity, ethnic diversity, racial diversity, and many, many more. Particularly, our country is such that we are full of diversities. Until yesterday, even the gender we were taught had only, we knew it only diverse in two ways. But today, the diversity has opened up to include LGBTQ, which is a reality that so far our society tried to shove under carpet. Even in literature, we have diverse forms of literature written in diverse styles, in diverse languages. We need to be proud of the unity in diversity that prevails despite our differences. As I talk of the linguistic diversity in India, I recall the famous quote of course everybody knows it, the quote by our first Rashtrapati Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, who said, and I quote, "The literature is one, though written in different languages." End quote. Of course, this is true of every language of the world. Literature is one. It is so often used that it has become a cliche, even sometimes stigmatized. Nevertheless, it doubtlessly holds good even today as we see how the writers hailing from diverse regions and diverse cultures write in diverse languages. Well, there are scholars who disagree with this perception that unity in diversity of languages. They believe that looking at an Indian literature in the singular is problematic. But they also believe that looking at Indian literature in the plural is equally problematic. I think there is some confusion. Anyway, each language has its own characteristics, and that will be overlooked if we think in terms of one literature from many languages. They may have a point there. Nevertheless, looking at the multilingual activities concluded successfully by the Central Sahitya Academy, where I have worked for 5 years as a member of the Executive Council, I am convinced of the oneness of Indian literature while retaining the flavor of the concerned language. Of late, we find a deliberate attempt to force one language on the diverse people, thus undermining the less powerful languages. Let me share my experience. I'm talking globally, not only in India. Let me share my experience that I had nearly about over 20 years back. I was one of the few working on a mission of machine translation. It was our Directorate of Electronics then it changed into Ministry of Information Technology, MIT. They had given a project, and they were conducting a project all over the country of machine translation. Meantime, a conference organized by the UNESCO was held in Goa. On the similar lines it was organized, so I attended it. I attended it mainly because the famous novelist, philosopher, and the social commentator, Professor Umberto Eco, who was chairing it. The delegates who attended the conference, they discussed the United Nations project. There was a project initiated by the UNESCO. The project was called Universal Networking Language. It was an ambitious project of developing a universal language that would facilitate instant exchange of works from one language to another. The modus operandi was very simple. First, invent a machine language for universal networking. Then invent a method to codify the text in the source language. This text would then be sourced to the UNL, that Universal Networking Language, where it would be decodified and sent to the desired target language. Simply put it, a narrative from Oriya, if I want to read in my language, Konkani, then there is a universal networking language which has a process to go through. A language, the source language is codified and transported to the universal networking language, where it is again decodified and sent to the target language. It is not as simple as I put it, but then it was in the process. This project, if succeeds, it would certainly help the entire global languages. Maybe it will be beneficial to about 6,000 to 7,000 languages of this world. But the project had stalled midway. And do you know why? Simply because the perpetrators of one language for all did not want the project to yield results. And you know what I mean to say. The German, the French, and the Japanese scholars present they were irritated. They expressed their anguish at the obstructive attitude of the big brother. If such overbearing prevails in the international arena, no wonder our people in the dispensation, I'm talking about now about my country, the people in the dispensation tow the same thread, one nation, one language. Friends, we need to remain vigilant. We have to protect our languages. I don't want to strike negative chords as I start these discussions here. I wish to begin on a positive note. We are here to discuss art and literature. We'll discuss books and do readings. Literature is supposed to show the life in all its ugliness and also in all its beauty. At the beginning of the present decade, we experience a very dark period all over the world, marked by the pandemic, COVID-19. It spared no region, whether Europe or Australia or any place, or India was no exception. It attacked Goa with the same vicious intensity as Odisha. The climate change has affected Odisha with the same ferocity as in Kerala. The high-handedness of the political bigwigs was no different for the people of Odisha or any other place. Now, I would like to know whether this has reflected in your writings. It has to. It is bound to mirror in the literature of this soil. Otherwise, you are betraying your people, your land, your language. That's what I believe. I recollect one incident I would like to share with you. During the COVID times, particularly when there were lockdowns, people suffered a lot. I need not tell you, it was on the television all over. And who suffered the most were the migrants. And I hail from Goa, and we have a number of migrants who can equal the number of the locals. So the migrants suffered the most. And I had a group of cyclists, young cyclists, whom I knew. They would go early morning with their cycles in a group, and they noticed that who suffered the most in the difficult times of pandemic were the stray dogs. During the lockdown, most of the restaurants, the hotels were closed. And these stray dogs fed upon the leftovers of the hotels and other places. So they were going hungry. So these people, the cyclists, they decided to take one bag each of bread, loaves, for them. So they would go cycling, and every point, they would, har nukkad pe, jo kutte the, they would feed them with the bread. And one day as they were going, suddenly they noticed two children came out of the bushes from nowhere, picked up two breads and ran away. So these cyclists were surprised. Where did the children come from? So they just followed them behind the bushes, and there was an opening. And they, to their surprise, they noticed nearly about 10 to 12 families, about 30, 40 people living there. You know the reason? That's because of the lockdown. No trains, no buses, no vehicles. They could not go back to their homes, nor they were allowed to live in the rented rooms where they were staying. They were driven out of by their landlords, and they had nowhere to go. Even if they had money, they could not go to the markets. Markets were closed, and whatever were open, whenever they went to the marketplace, the police would drive them away with their lathis. So that was a terrible time for them, and they were just herded and living there in difficult times. So these people noticed it. They went back home of their own. They collected they cooked some food, some rice. Then they cooked some vegetables and curry and reached that spot, and they fed them. It was a great deed. Not only this, and that was one day. But the next day they promised them, and they went back and another a lot of food for 30 or 40. But do you know, the next day number grew by another 26 to 30. Next day there were 50, 60, 70 people. Because people around got the word that these people are coming here to give them food. They gave them. They went back again, they cooked again, came back and served them. The next day again, up to 100, the number went off, but then they did not discourage them. They went back home, brought more food. And the word spread in the village. One day, the Sarpanch, the leader of the village Panchayat, came to know about this. He came with them. He saw how they served them. And what he did, there was a photographer with him who clicked photo. And the next day, in the papers, we saw a photo with Sarpanch in the background and people eating the food. No mention of the cyclists who were giving the food. These are the politicians who are keen on grabbing the credit, not allowing the others to take the credit. So this is the ugly part of it. I'm just telling you, the ugly part of which we have to take note of. But there is the beautiful part of it too. I read once in a newspaper that one BD worker, a laborer, a BD worker from Kerala, an old man, he was saving for his old age. He had already, every week he would put some 100 rupees in the bank. And so far he had about 2,000, to precisely 2 lakhs and 12,000 rupees in his bank. But when COVID broke out and people were suffering, he donated 2 lakhs rupees to the Chief Minister Relief Fund, leaving only 12,000 for him. This is the beauty of our life, which we the people as writers, I think we should take note of. Very important it is. That's what I brought this up here. Friends, we of late I find everywhere it is happening, but particularly in India, it is happening all the more. We are digging into our past to find the glorious period that our mythological days had. We are talking highly about our Vedas. Nothing wrong in it. But for us, writers, it is not Vedas that are important. It is the Vedana that is more important. It is the human agony that is prevailing in our society. We have to take care of not Vedas, but these Vedanas, and that is our role in the society as writers. That is what I believe. And I know most of our writers, creative writers, are doing exactly this. The latest, I remember another one, the latest Nobel laureate for literature, for literature, Han Kang, she, after the Nobel Prize was declared to her, she refused to have any celebrations. She said, when the people of Gaza are suffering so much, how can I celebrate my Nobel Prize? I'm writing for these people. And do you know, last year, or even this year, there are no schools open in Gaza Strip. I'm not talking about the politics part of it, but of the human part of it. All the children, most of the children, either they are dead, either they are injured, or they have fled out. So, fled away from this place. So this is the matter of concern for our conscientious writers. That is what I believe. And when the situation is so gloomy, we cannot sit quiet. There are people who prefer not to speak aloud. But याद रखिए, डरा हुआ लेखक मरा हुआ पाठक पैदा करता है. So हमें, we have to be very, very conscientious and conscious about all these things and keep our eyes open, our ears open, our conscience open. Then only we'll do justice to our writings. I think the time does not permit me to go ahead. I know when I attend festivals like this and when I am among the writers, it is very difficult to hold your tongue. So anyway, thank you for the patient hearing, my friends. Very much. And to you too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, so much for those kind words. And I think it has triggered the humanity which lies within us, though we try to ignore it time and again. I hope we all take those steps, little steps from the teachings of Damodar Moja, so that we are adding to our society, to our humankind. Moving on to our next segment, which is the book launch segment, starting with our first book, The Big Book of Odia Literature by Manu Das. And I would like to request Mautushi Mukherjee, Commissioning Editor, Penguin Random House, India, to please join us on the stage for the book launch of The Big Book of Odia Literature. I would request Manu Das sir to say a few words about this book.
Thank you. Big Book has already been published since last 4 months, and it has gone for the second print, reprint. Thank you, Mautushi Mukherjee, Commissioning Editor of PRHI, Penguin Random House, India. Without her, this book would have not been possible. I am so grateful She's a hard taskmaster, and it took 1.5 years to edit this book, and all credit goes to Penguin as well as Mautushi Mukherjee. And now we have a session, separate session for this. So let I request Mautushi speak few words about the book.
I want to congratulate Manu Dash. It is really his effort. He has been a one-man army for this book also. And it's been a great pleasure and a privilege to put together the big book of Oriya literature for readers who cannot read Oriya and who are interested in understanding literary histories of this country. We will have a separate session on this book, and we can talk more at length, and we can take questions from the audience if you all have questions about how the book was put together. But this is really a thank you note to Manu, and also a huge thank you to all the translators who came on board and who translated the pieces from Oriya into English for this edition. It is really their book. It's their words on that page, and I really want to thank them. I want to thank the team at Penguin, the copy editor, Aparna, who is not here. She's in Delhi, but she has been very excited about the book. And everyone at Penguin, we are backing this book. We want to do more. We want to curate more from India's literary histories, and this is the first step, and it's a great one. The book is doing really well. People are loving it all across the country, so that's great news. Congratulations.
Moving on to our next book, Unpolitically Correct, The Politics and Economics of Governance. The book is by Satya Mohanty, Rupa Publications. Can we have the book, please? I would request Satya Mohanty sir to please say a few words about his books. We'll keep it brief.
3 words.
Yeah, we'll keep it brief as brief as possible.
I have already been alerted. It will be as brief as possible. I don't know what it is. It is next to null. Okay. I will do the job of author speech plus for my editor, because my editor just couldn't make it. He sent a video clip, but it cannot be played here because there is nothing. So I remembered that I am something like a bull who carries his china shop everywhere he goes. So I am that. Okay. And this book is about governance and is about public policies. It is generally believed that it is whatever government does is very benign. But looking at the data and everything I have unpacked, that it is not so benign. It could be for a designated class of winners. It could be for the powerful interest, and it could be going against the stated category who should benefit. And it has gone into the issues of education in India, healthcare, agriculture, the macroeconomy, privatization, vaccination, and a whole host of issues. So since I have got a chance for a half a second, let me promote the book. Every author has got a nightmare that the book will sink without a trace. So I must ring fence it by saying that it carries a lot of stuff. So do try to read it. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping it brief. Moving on to our next book, Mrigya. It's a Hindi book which was originally written in Odia language by Biswajit Das and translated into Hindi by Rajendra Prasad Mishra. It's been published by Dholi Books, and I would request Samanjas Das, son of Biswajit Das, to please join us on the stage. Rajendra Prasad Mishra and Samanjas Das. A big round of applause, please. I would request Samanjas Das sir to please say a few words about the book.
Thank you for this unexpected opportunity to address the august audience. It's difficult to comprehend Mrugaya. Mrugaya was written by my father in 1970, and it took me nearly 4 decades to understand what Mrugaya was all about. I am still grappling with it, notwithstanding the fact that I translated it into English. But I did try to map Mrugaya with the works of 2 great persons, Sigmund Freud and Jean-Paul Sartre. Freud, in his paper Beyond the Pleasure Principle, talked about 3 principles: the pleasure principle, the reality principle, and the morality principle. Pleasure principle is characterized by id. Morality principle is the superego, and the reality principle is ego. Id is the basic instinct, the animalistic behavior of human being. And on the other side of the spectrum, it's morality principle, high moral ground, perfectionist. Well, it is difficult to be id in entirety or superego in totality. It's ego which balances the two. That's how Freud is reflected in Mrugaya. And Sartre, in his paper Being and Nothingness, he says that the crux of human anxiety, human anguish, it stems from the fear of existence. Shunyata. He speaks of shunyata. There is no purpose. There is no meaning in life. And yet, we chase that. Human beings chase that. That's Mrugaya is all about. Thank you very much.
Moving on to our next book, last book, for this segment is Lunar Eclipse, published by Dolly Books and by the writer M.K. Ajay. Can we have a big round of applause? I would request M.K. Ajay sir to say a few words about his book, Lunar Eclipse.
Thank you. Let me start by saying that I was not expecting that this book would come out in this OALF, but if you know Manu Dash well, he doesn't take no for an answer. So he did tell me, I think sometime in September or October maybe, that we are coming out with your next book. And I really panicked because even though I knew I had enough poems for a book, I was not sure whether we will be able to edit it and come out in time. And this book is really a labor of love in that sense. It's a book I published after 2016, which was when I published my third book of poetry. This is the fourth book. And these are mostly poems written in the last 9 years, and I look at it as these are poetic journeys of a boy who grew up in a small town, Kerala, which is me, and all the adventures and escapes from a very hectic, busy corporate life that I've led. These poems have kept me company, kept me sane, and I would ask you to read and enjoy it. I think the poems speak far better about themselves than I can. But thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, and I would like to request Manu Das sir to say a few words.
Thank you, Ajay. In fact, Ajay is a part of Odisha Art and Literature Festival. He is the guest curator, and one of the another Singaporean national professor, Alvin Peng, who is also there. Due to some flight delay, he could not make it today, but he is reaching by evening. Alvin and Ajay, both are really, truly, they have amazingly helped me to do many things, and we are going to do so many things in future too. This book actually was not in our plan, but when Ajay, you are not aware that Ajay is now working in Hong Kong, which organizations I cannot tell even if I have to read it. It is just like a Tata Group in Hong Kong, but he has demitted his office. He has resigned recently, and in January he is going to be the first CEO from HR. HR से कोई CEO नहीं बनता. He is going to be the CEO. That's why let us congratulate Ajay. And he told me that he is afraid if he can give this book next year, which we designed to publish in 2025. But I thought that if at all it is not possible, because he cannot give time, so I proposed him that I want to bring this book in 2024 before you join in the new organization. Thank you, Ajay, for helping me to giving the manuscript. We had a lot of toil, and day in, day out we worked. And if you read, then you will know what Ajay is exactly. He is one of the finest and brilliant poets in the country and in international arena also. Thank you, Ajay, once again.
Moving on to our next segment, I would like to say a few words about Banaj Devi. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Srimati Banaj Devi, eminent Odia author, for her outstanding contribution to Indian literature, Odia literature in particular. Your remarkable contribution to Odia literature is appreciated by one and all. You are a favorite of Odia readers. You started writing at a tender age, and so far you have written a good number of books. You have been writing for the last 60 years and contributed immensely to various fields of Odia literature like novel, short story, poetry, translation of travel log. Born on 10 April 1941 in a remote village like Barboy under Puri district, and being a housewife, she has dedicated her life to enrich Odia literature. Your writings often explores themes such as gender dynamics, social justice, human values, and relationship. Your style is characterized by its lyrical prose, vivid description, and emotional depth. You have been honored by so many organizations in and outside Odisha. As a recognition of your contribution to Odia literature, you have been awarded by Odisha Sahitya Academy in the year 2001. Apart from that, you have been awarded with Pratibha Satpati Kavita Samman in the year 2004. The coveted Sarala Puraskar, the prestigious award in Odia literature, was conferred on you in the year 2017 for your short story collection, Kathapuo. Books written by you are widely appreciated by Odia readers. Some of the acclaimed books are as follows. She has 16 novels to her credit: Radha, Marujhanna, Nadi O Nauka, Shrabana Sandhya, Jiban Jemiti, Sato Pahucho. 14 short stories to her credit: Rag Behag and Nilomadhavara Ga. There are 6 poetry collections to her credit, and she has also done translation work. So we would like to felicitate her with this honor on 29th November 2024. A big round of applause. I would request her to speak a few words and address the audience.
जय जगन्नाथ। आज नवम वार्षिक धौली ट्रस्ट तरफ नवम वार्षिक आर्ट और कल्चरल फेस्टिवल प्रथम दिवस धौली ट्रस्ट तरफ 9 वर्ष धरी ये जो कार्यक्रम आरंभ होती जो सभा करुचंती से माने यह विश्व ओडिया साहित्य को विश्वमुखी करिबारे सहयोग करुछि। धौली ट्रस्ट मुख्य जे आमर मनु दास ओडिया साहित्य को इंग्राजी अनुवाद करी विश्व रे परिचय करिवार से जो नेचंती सेतिपई से निश्चित भाव में धन्यवाद आर वर्ष मध्य करथिले 9 वर्ष हो गलानी मु तांकर आहुरी उत्तरोत्तर उन्नति करुच्ची एवं ओडिया साहित्य को विश्व दरबार रे पहुँचेबार से जो प्रयास जारी रही से प्रयास जारी रहो। मते आज एठी संबर्धना देइथिबारु मु कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करुच्ची। आमर ओडिया साहित्यर जो अखंड महादीप जली रही से टोपाए तेल पकईवाई मो भाजन है ना जदियो गोटाए जीवन काटी सारे तेल सीना पकई पारिनी किंतु मु तार आलोकरे आलोकित होइछि एवं मो अंतरात्मा आलोकित होइछि एवं ताहा मते प्रेरणायित करिछि। साधारण गोटे माने घर संसार भितर मीना बजार पृष्ठारू आज पर्यंत ये जो जारी रही मोर ये गोटे बहुत माने संग्राम संघर्ष कहले हेनी बाह्य संघर्ष नुह अंत संघर्ष मध्य से जहाँ हो मोर काम तुलन मु बहुत किछि सम्मान पाइछि। से सम्मान मोर नुह बोली मोर मने हुए माता माँ बागदेवी करुणा एवं ओडिया पाठक मानकर भल पाइबा जहाँ मते आज पर्यंत साहित्य रे बंचई रखी। परिशेष रे मु गोटे कथा कहबाक चाहिए जे सभ्यता जदि गोटे देश और जातिर मुखशाला हुए तेबे साहित्य तार अंतस्वर एवं आम साहित्य गोटे देश और जातिर परिचय दबाकू समर्थ हो आसी एवं आगक भी हब एवं मुझे आशा करी समस्तंकर शुभकामना करुच्ची एवं धौली ट्रस्ट तरफ मते सम्मान दे जाइथिबारु मो ट्रस्ट और श्रद्धेय मनु दास पाखे मोर कृतज्ञता ओडिया पाठक मानकर प्रचुर भल पाइबा पाइछि जा मोर काम तुलन में बहुत बेसी एवं मो मध्य कृतज्ञ ओडिया साहित्य प्रति ओडिया पाठक मानक प्रति। जय जगन्नाथ वंदे उत्कल जननी।
Thank you so much everyone for joining us on the stage. A big round of applause for our dignitaries. Thank you so much. I would like to thank our sponsors for coming forward and joining hands and making this festival a great success. Our presenting sponsors, Remedial Life Sciences and Manpar Icon Technologies, powered by Indian Oil and LIC. Associate sponsors, JM Bakshi, Hind Terminals and S&M Group. Our cultural partner, ICCR, book partner, Oxford, Lekha Lekhi, knowledge partner, Utkal University and ASBM University. Thank you everyone.